These are gonna be really hard on you, but you gotta roll the die and go green. This is like a version of pickup sticks, except if the ring falls, the game is over. All right, so red is worth 3 points, blue is worth 2 points, green is worth 1 point. The bigger the stick, the more likely you are to have one make the ring fall. Okay.
I think you set it up good this time.
Red. Okay, there's one right on top.
Good luck with that one.
Woo-wee! This is always a problem. That can hurt somebody. Ah! That can hurt somebody. That happens sometimes, and that's very dangerous. Very dangerous. The water got so much pressure that it began to pump, fall out of there. Hey folks, Lester here, and this morning our efforts continue to water down and keep our newly seeded pasture hydrated. We're gonna pump out about 4,000 more gallons of water this week. We have no rain in the forecast, and so I'm going through 2 gallons, 2,000 gallons twice a week. And that's what Corey had told us to do. So that's 2 full tanks. And our pond is saying, come on, Lord, fill me. And all of our grass is streaming out as well. Hey, let me show you something real fast. Before I go off and start filling this tank up, let me show you something. Look over here where Jamie waters her fig trees, and look at all this beautiful grass. That is what our grass should look like if it were receiving the right amounts of rain. Jamie waters these trees every 3 days or so. Not a lot, but she does water her trees. And that's what kind of grass we can grow here. Hey, sweetie, that's what kind of grass we should have here. And of course, then I come by and I mow it and keep it all, cut pretty. But the reality is, where you able to put water, you get that. And when you can't water, you get that. And guys, there have been quite a few people who've kind of commented things like, why don't you water your lawn? Why don't you put your sprinklers out? Guys, this is not a city-sized yard. This is 20 acres of pasture. And you're saying, so what happens right over here? This is actually the septic, what do they call that? The field lines. This is the field lines from the septic. That's the gray water that runs from the field lines. It keeps that nice and green. Shower, tub, washer and dryer, the field lines. So that does stay green. But everything else, woo-wee. Do I ever sound like a broken record? We need rain, we're hot, we need rain, we're hot. It consumes you. You wake up every day and it just, your daily routine consists of, well, number one, keeping your babies alive and healthy. And then number two, you know that you need your pastures to do that. The yard is one thing. I'm not the kind of guy who's going to go all crazy if my yard is not, the most beautiful yard on the street. But keeping our pastures healthy is huge. Let me get my tractor. Tell you what, we don't have a whole lot of gallons left in this pond. It's held up pretty good, y'all. To be honest, it's held up pretty good for all the water we've pumped out of it. And we have to figure out a system to refill this thing. The unfortunate part, though, is the amount of money the company wants to charge us to try to irrigate from the river. Because here's our thought processes. This is the way we have to think it out as just making a good decision on this, is that this pond, even though it has a leak or seepage now, it will eventually seal. We remember the pond at a Survivor leaked for a while, the second pond we dug. And Paul kept saying, it has clay, it'll eventually seal. It will eventually seal. Man, that pond would fill up and drain, fill up and drain. And all of a sudden, one day it filled up and held. So we're hopeful that this pond as well will one day seal. In saying so, if we were to get significant rain and it fills, it would be foolish for us to spend $10,000 plus to get an irrigation system from the river to the pond if our pond, in fact, stays full. The only reason it keeps leaking now, or it's low now, is, well, the leaking issue, because it hasn't sealed yet, and the fact that we've pumped so much water out of it to irrigate that pasture over there. And so, yeah, but for now, it's holding up, y'all. It's still holding up, and we still got many, many tanks to go before we have to resort to a different setup. But we cannot lose our grass. We cannot lose all of the hydro seeding that we had planted over there. At all costs, we have to get that pasture up and going for everybody's well-being. Because I'll tell you what, those cows will sit there the entire day. They will not move from that spot because there's no reason to. I will drive over and feed them in a little bit, and then they'll lay back down and they'll lay there the entire day until the afternoon feed up, because they know it's a waste of energy to be walking around for nothing. All right, so step one of this process is to take your green hose, make sure your filter is clean, and toss it out there into the water. It needs to be all the way submerged. You don't want to get air into your lines. Now, secondly, we will take this red hose and stretch it out along through here. And this is going to be, we're going to put this into our tank. All right, now that I've gotten all of the kinks out of the red hose, well, you know what I mean. We can go ahead and crank up our pump and start filling water. I want to turn this off, because what you don't want to have is a snaky hose flapping all over the place. I'll spray them down real fast. That's all they wanted. You want some, baby? Come on. What I have to do is make sure all of the hose is stretched out enough where it doesn't kink up. All right, I didn't fill it all the way full. I got about 600 gallons in here, and we're gonna drive out now and put this water onto our pasture. All right, so once you get to your location, you're gonna start spraying. You pretty much just kind of reverse the green hose. Green hose goes back into the tank. I'll unwind my red hose, crank it up, and we're just going to put out a really saturating flow of water as far as my hose will reach and stretch. Once we're done with this, we'll just kind of completely encircle the tractor area. Then I'll pull up another 100 feet, do the exact same thing, and we'll work ourselves all the way to the creek. And that's all that this amount of water will get. We'll have to refill, move over 100 feet, do the same thing tomorrow. All right, that right there, my friends, was about 600 gallons of water, and it covered about a fourth of my pasture here. So we're not putting it real heavy, but we are doing it every few days or so, keeping the ground just moist until that seed begins to germinate. And I guess I'll just say that you do what you have to do to keep your dream alive, you know? And everyone knows that. Everyone knows that anything that you dream for doesn't just happen with a snap of a finger. You just gotta sometimes work towards those goals and those dreams. And we have a really good thing going here, and I'm gonna just keep doing what I have to do, because this pasture has to grow. This kind of is a must. This is kind of a must for us. So thank y'all for watching, and we will catch you guys on tomorrow's video.
Don't let your troubles fester. Come watch Longhorn Lester.
Yeah, something like that.